Okay, what we have here is a Robin motor out of an EZGO Workhorse ST35. We got to pull this drive clutch off here today. I'm going to rebuild this motor, but looking on the internet, you can get a lot of videos on how to pull that drive clutch using oil and a bolt and Teflon tape and using hydraulic pressure to push it off there. Well, to me, that's a cheap parlor trick, and I wonder why would you go to all that trouble and make that mess with that oil running everywhere when you could just put a bolt in there and push it off. So I'm going to make this video to show you how to do this. Make this video show you how to get this off here without the parlor tricks. I don't know why anybody would ever do it that way, rather than just grabbing a bolt and shoving it in there. Now this motor has been on this Workhorse since 1996, and this drive clutch has been on this motor, never been pulled off. So it's going to be a little stuck and a lot of rust in there. You just saw me knock out of there. Now I'm going to make a little noise here because I've got to clean those threads up a little better before I start this. This bolt is a 3/4 by 16 TPI thread pattern. The shaft is rusty, so we're just going to clean it up so we don't have any more resistance than we have to. This is a spray top that I stole off a WD-40 can because for whatever reason, PB Blaster doesn't give you one of these in the larger size cans. What we're going to use instead of hydraulic pressure is a 3/8 bolt. Now this one's 3.5 and this one's 4.5. I need a 4-inch bolt, but I don't have one. Either one of these will work. This one takes a good portion of the threads, and this one gives you about 3/4 of thread on here, and I think that's enough to push it off. So we're going to stick this one in here, and I put a nut on the other end just to keep this centered rather than just let it lay down. And we're going to stick that in there right like that. And that gives you Okay, about 5/8 of threads, which I think will be plenty. And if not, I'll use a shorter one and run it in further. But either way, we're not going to dump hydraulic oil or motor oil all over my table. Now I'm going to use my impact wrench, but if you don't own an impact wrench, with an 1/8" wrench and a hammer, you got an impact. And if you're doing this with the motor still in the cart, you're going to have to do it this way. Or you can drop that back axle and get this to drop down below the frame. It's going to be pretty close to where the front bolt is, the front shackle bolt is on the rear springs. But if you got to drop the back axle or even drop it from the front end, which probably work just as well, and you can't get the whole bolt in, you can stack a couple of these bolts in there, shorter ones, but it can be done. Now I'm going to start with my impact. And even though this thing's been on there for 24 years or whatever, it should pop off without making a huge mess. Now I realize that there may be, I don't know, some reason for making a huge mess, but I can't imagine what it would be when a 24-year stuck CVT drive clutch would come off that easily. And if you'll notice, there's no oil all over my workbench. And I didn't have to lay it on its back to fill the hole. So leave the hydraulics for some place they're needed, and just get you a 3/8 bolt that'll drop right in your hole there.